Two schools separated by 75 miles come together in Morgantown, West Virginia, to uh, to play the 106th edition of the Backyard Brawl between the University of Pittsburgh and West Virginia University. Danny and I will have the recap for you right here on the 14th edition of the Local Lowdown podcast, which begins right now. Whoop, quick stop on the audio there. My apologies. Hello and welcome to episode number 14 of the Local Lowdown. My name is Zach Bischoff, and I am, as always, joined by.
Danny Shanhorn, sir.
Your head is getting cut off by your nameplate, just to let you know. As we wait for there we go. There we
There
go.
we go.
All right. So, as I said in the open, the 106th playing of the Backyard Brawl was played last evening in Morgantown, West Virginia. It's about 75 miles due south of our location at the local Lowdown studio, which is my house and Danny's house, respectively. Um, yeah, Danny, just your thoughts on the game in general, and then we'll get into some specifics.
For sure, Zach. And as always, man, great to be with you. I wish that we were a little bit more excited to do this recap than we are right now. I wish we were coming off the heels of a Pitt dominating win. But Zach, that was obviously not the case last night with West Virginia beating Pitt 17-6. I really thought the story from the beginning was just our offense was just non-existent. You know, we've talked. I feel like more than we should have, more than we would like to, about disjointed offenses. And Pitt again was disjointed. Jack, I thought that maybe playing a rival, and just the storied tradition of the backyard brawl would really amp Pitt up, and it may have amped Pitt up. It probably, I mean, the players were probably super excited to play, but they really did not show that they were super excited to play and did not play with as much passion as I would have liked to see. I just really thought the story was our inability to really move the ball down the field. Aside from that first series, we really did not move the ball well at all. And I think West Virginia, credit to them, they had a good game plan to stop our offense, but our offense obviously did not help itself out because we just were not efficient, Zach.
All right. First question, Danny. First of four for the episode. Your thoughts on the overuse of the run game by, well, the overuse of the run game by both teams, but the difference is West Virginia actually executed and Pitt did not. I want you to just touch on Pitt and how I believe it was the first 15 plays called by offensive coordinator Frank Denny Jr. Were all run plays.
Yeah, for sure, Zach. When I was watching that first series, I it was just it was a little bit shocking to me, honestly, that we ran the ball in the first 15 plays, because I said to myself when we scored that field goal, I said, I'll take that 3 points, but we really
Yeah, she said
were
that to me.
pretty one dimensional. I know
You
I
you
texted you
texted
that
you
exactly.
texted me that.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And my thought was that, okay, I'll take. We really did move the ball downfield well that first drive. Rodney Hammond had a couple of really strong physical runs. Phil Dracovic even had a read option, I think. And I was like to myself, I was like, that's a good start. But I mean, we were the epitome of being one dimensional right there, Zach. And I think that when you exhaust the run game as much as Pitt did, there's nowhere really to go, as the game goes on, because
Mm.
West Virginia, is a good team, right?
Yeah.
All college teams are able to kind of adjust on the fly. That's how game plans work. You set a game plan and then you adjust it accordingly. And I'd be curious to hear your thoughts, Zach, about this. Like, I was wondering as I was watching this, was the 15 runs scripted, or was that just the feel that Frank Signetti had? Because I don't know, I kind of went back and forth. Like, it would be weird for an offensive coordinator to have 15 plays scripted, but I know sometimes that's the case. So, do you think that it was more of a from the game, like the offensive game plan that they installed last week, or was it more of like what happened during the game, Zach?
I think it was, and you're still cut off by your nameplate, by the way. I think that was at least partially scripted because I saw in interviews this week with media that that Narduzzi, coach Pat Narduzzi, said that he said to expect the run game. Now I
Yeah,
don't think it was scripted. These will be the first 15 plays we run,
right.
but I think that it was going to be a run heavy game, and it was for both offensive play callers. Now,
That to me also, Zach. That to me also, like, and I don't want to. I mean, we're gonna bash on Dracovic a heavy amount this podcast. Rest assured,
that's
for all your
yeah, that's
angry,
next. That's next.
angry Pitt fans here. But going into that, Zach. Like, do you think that Frank Signetti, like, to me, if you run the ball 15 straight times or whatever it was that you said, Zach, you have no confidence whatsoever in your quarterback
No,
because that's how you're starting the game. Like,
yeah,
what is that? If I'm West Virginia and they run the ball down our throat 15 times, I'm like, okay, guys, we held them to a field goal. We bend and didn't break, but they also can't throw the ball. And that was true, Zach. That rang true. The whole game, man. And I just, I wonder if that's why Frank Signetti, started the game off with 15 runs. I mean, Jacobic only threw the ball 20 times, but
yeah.
I thought that was really interesting to look at, man.
And now we move to the quarterback. Quarterback
Yeah.
Phil Dracovic, out of a transfer from Boston College last year, went 8 of 20 for 81 yards, no touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Danny, do you think something is up injury wise? Because I am certainly starting to think so. I mean, just looking at the inaccuracy against last week against Cincinnati, and I don't have the stats against Wofford, but I'm gonna give some Boston College stats whenever you're done with your piece.
Yeah, Zach. No, I think that's certainly a fair question, a fair assumption that something might be up. Because Phil Dracovic was the guy coming in, right? He played transferred or started his career at Notre Dame and then transferred to Boston College and in 2022 had some success there. Obviously he didn't have a great year by any stretch, but he was a pretty good quarterback for Boston College. And um ever since that Cincinnati game, Zach, he really
Mm,
has not looked good. I just think
yeah.
he's a little bit. It seems like he's almost forcing it downfield, like too much. Obviously you want to push the envelope as a quarterback, but he
Mm,
just has not looked comfortable in the pocket at all,
no.
and he's been wildly inactive. I mean, 3 interceptions on 20 passes is not the way to make your mark on the game. And I know that um, we Frank Signetti said this week that he has a lot of confidence in Phil Dracovic, but at what point do you really look inwardly and say maybe this guy is not producing? Because
No.
I think that point's got to be pretty soon because whatever's going on is not the way that we want to not the way we want this season to go
No.
because Phil Dracovic right now is holding the Pitt offense back, and it's
Yes.
super clear easy to see.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the excitement for him kind of gets, he's a local kid. He played at Pine Richland High School here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
He, just about 45 minutes from us here. So it was, he's a local guy. what were his stats in high school?
I mean,
Do you
I
happen to
know
know
that
that?
he was a heck of a player for Pine Ridge one.
Yeah,
I think that's he was highly recruited out of high school, rightfully so. I mean, he went
yeah,
to Notre Dame, and if you do that, Zach, if you do that, you're the guy.
yeah,
You are a dude. And I think that's what I want Phil Dracovic to turn into. I think that's what people will believe that he can turn it. It just really it's been hard. It's been hard to watch, honestly. It just seems like he's struggling so much.
yeah. I mean, if you're recruited out of, or I mean, if you go to college and if you go D1 and you come out of Western Pennsylvania, you really should be good. Because
Right,
Western or even Pennsylvania as a whole is a huge high school football state.
right.
Not as big as Texas. They have their own monopoly on it down there, but Pennsylvania is a
Yeah.
big state when it comes to high school football. All right. Where is I going to go next? I need my stats. I need my papers again. All right. Just some stats for Phil Jakovic. Last year, he went for his career. He went 147 for 347 for 1,711 yards. I don't know why I don't have touchdowns. That's Danny's fault. He provided me with the stat sheets that I'm looking at.
Sorry, Jack. My
You're fine.
bad. My bad, man.
As far as total, where do I want to go? Yeah, total offense. 211 total yards on offense. Same for both teams. Although the difference, and this is where I want to move next, and hopefully, yeah, wrap up after this. The turnover battle, I believe it was 3-1 in favor of West Virginia, well, winning the turnover battle anyway. No, I'll take this. So, uh, Jakovic, he threw three interceptions. Was it two interceptions? No, three interceptions.
Yeah.
Um, and one of them was really bad. So I saw this on the replay. He had a check down like 5-10 yards in front of him, and he threw it deep. And he had and West Virginia had three guys back, so he threw it right to one of the guys right in the West Virginia secondary. Which I want to branch off there. The West Virginia secondary is very, very, very beat up right now. And
Yeah.
we haven't even mentioned that Pitt lost to a redshirt freshman backup quarterback last night. So we can
Yeah. No,
go there for a minute.
no, for sure, Zach. You make a great point, and I think how Phil Dracovic had a check down at first, and decided to force the ball down the field into coverage, and it made it easy for the West Virginia secondary, who is beat up, as you mentioned, to pick the ball up. I think that goes back to just the way that he's forcing it, making ill-advised decisions. Like he just really, you know, they mentioned it on the broadcast. It just did not look sharp at all, and was making decisions that most quarterbacks are told not
To
to
make.
make. I think and the biggest thing, I mean, I thought our defense for the most part played pretty well, Zach. I mean, they only allowed West Virginia 211 yards,
Yeah,
but because of those interceptions, Zach, because of those short fields that our turnovers created, that's how West Virginia was able to get their points. It wasn't like they were incredibly efficient or that we had the
no,
ball for forever. It was that we gave them opportunities to make scoring touchdowns and scoring points easier.
yeah,
Like that was the difference. And when you got a good when you have a struggling quarterback, I would have liked to see more bubble screens and I can't believe I'm saying that because I really don't like screens
no.
as a
I don't
practice,
like screens either.
but that would be something positive to get Fedor Kovac, confident in a game like the backyard brawl. I mean, we didn't see that,
No,
and then we exhausted the run game as we talked about in the beginning, and West Virginia, to their credit, was disciplined, and that
yeah,
they shut down guys like Keanu Medfield and Bob Means that are really really good receivers. So I think the blame of its loss should go um, mostly to Phil Dracovic, but also
yeah,
Frank Signetti. Frank Signetti been known for being a really really good offensive coordinator for us. We've had good offensive coordinators in the past with Mark Whipple and the likes and others along the lines of that. But I mean, he really did not set Djokovic up for success here, man. Like I
No,
feel like everybody's blaming Djokovic, and rightfully so, because he just really didn't look sharp. But also, our offensive game plan, as we talked about, was just so one-dimensional, Zach.
yeah, yeah. And I want to make a couple more points. I know we have to wrap it up here. Danny, you have somewhere to be, but I I want to talk about how even in the when they were backed up, it seemed like let's go here first. It seems like most West Virginia drives. It seems like he started right around the 50. It seemed like it's just
Right,
um that's not that puts your defense in tough spots. You can't really
100%.
blame the defense when your offense is really putting you in tough spots, turning it over on downs. And Danny, did you recognize this? That they were looking at the shadow of their own goalposts. They were on the 1 yard line, and Signetti's still running the ball. I don't understand. You're
Yeah,
down. You're down. I think it's 2 scores.
right.
Oh
Why?
wait.
Why not?
It's something else I just thought of when I keep thinking of stuff is when they went for it on 4th down as opposed to kicking a field goal to make it a 1 score game.
Yes,
That's going to be my final. That's going to be my final point. There's a lot more to talk about, but we do not have the time, unfortunately, for today. But
no, for sure, Zach. You make those are two tremendous points that need to be talked about here,
yeah,
because you know we really that again that goes back to we just did not have a good grasp on what we wanted to do as an offense, because when we needed to force the ball down the field, we didn't, because we weren't confident, because we exhausted the our big play opportunity too early, got Fojokovic flustered, and then couldn't make up for that because West Virginia figured it out. So I mean that's really where it went wrong there. And then Zach, you make a tremendous point. It's 17-6, and we're in field goal range for the first time since the first quarter, and we go for it on fourth
fourth
and
down,
one, and
and
it's a
there's
QB
nothing there.
sneak.
There's
There's
nothing there.
nothing there.
Nothing
We get
there.
stood up. We get stood up by the defensive line of West Virginia, who, as you mentioned, Zach, is a beat up defensive line that played well last night, but isn't anything special. And that, to me, I mean, that is the epitome of not being efficient on offense and not thinking through the game, because we had the ball with 2 minutes left.
Yeah,
If Ben Sauls kicks the field goal, he's been a guy that has been money. He's been our only form of consistent offense, to be honest, these past 3 games. And we don't even, that would have cut it to one possession, and it might have been a different game if we were able to drive down the field and force overtime. I mean, I know I'm for making a lot of foregone conclusions here, but and getting very 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 fired up. But I mean, I think that was mismanagement of a football game at its core, right there,
yes,
Zach.
yes. And also, my final question, and then after you answer this, you can move into closing remarks. Your thoughts? Is it time for a quarterback change for Pitt?
Zach, that's a hard question, because I think
Never thought I'd be saying that.
exactly, man. Because um, Phil Dracovic has obviously not been good. That's no secret. We just spent 20 minutes talking about that, and rightfully so.
Yes.
But I'm not exactly sure what we have as backups here, and I think it might be not the greatest, because Pat Narduzzi, when asked immediately after the game, said that he would have to watch the tape, but he believes Dracovic will be starting against North Carolina. So I think it is time for a
Dear Lord.
change, but I really think we gotta reinvent.
Is this what we're gonna be doing every week? I think this is what we're going to be doing every
I
week.
mean, and Zach, if this is what Pitt football in the 2023 season is, then we're in trouble. This is what
Yes.
we're gonna make it a weekly, a Sunday afternoon rant session about Pitt, right, and rightfully so. But we need to fully reevaluate our offensive playbook
Yes.
at this point. If
Yes.
Dracovic has to be the quarterback, and I obviously am all for quarterbacks, being able to there being a quarterback is the hardest position in all sports. So you do have to give quarterbacks an opportunity to figure things out. But like what? Like how much more? I can't take much more of this, man. And we were talking about this beforehand. Like this is the first time that for Pitt in a long time, because obviously Kenny Pickett was the quarterback before Jakovic, that Pitt has looked, like their quarterback is holding them back. And
Yeah,
for college teams that have this, every year, it seems like, man, I really, I'm sorry because that is not fun. But Zach, and the hard part is, I've been pessimistic about the Steelers recently. I'm being super pessimistic about Pitt, but it doesn't get any easier, Zach. We got North
no,
Carolina
yeah,
next week,
yeah. Now
so,
now we
so
move into conference play. We didn't even mention that. Yeah,
exactly, no,
we move
exactly.
into
Like
conference play this week, and it doesn't. And we're playing the likes of North Carolina, Notre Dame, Florida State, and others. And it doesn't get much easier. So I think this will be a losing season for the University of Pittsburgh unless things do change, but I don't think they will.
no, Zach, it has the potential to be a really, really ugly season all
Yes.
around for Pitt football, and I mean, I want to really, think. And I'm gonna probably leave you with this here, Zach. Is I really want to believe that we can figure this out and that Djokovic can bounce back. But from what I've seen, like we just we look so disorganized, and at some point, if we keep underperforming and if we keep oh man, this year's the year, and then we keep getting our ceiling is 8 wins. We're not going to get 8 wins
No,
this
no.
year at this rate. But is it time? And this is the question that I'll pose to our listeners that have stuck with us here. Is it time to reevaluate Coach Narduzzi's job status? I mean, like because at this point, like we have everything in place and it's just not working. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to be too pessimistic here, but that's where my mind goes, honestly, Zach.
Have you any closing remarks before we begin? I know I let you do most of the talking on this episode, but hey, I like it.
No, for sure, Zach. Always appreciate you having me on. Again, I wish it was under better circumstances today. Appreciate everybody watching and listening. And for Pitt fans out there, we feel your pain. That's why we're talking
Yeah.
about it. We want to bring light to Pitt fans and bring light to the situation at Pitt right now. So thanks to everybody for watching and listening.
Yes, programming notes. So we are looking to have a Steelers, hopefully a better Steelers recap this week. We play Browns on Monday Night Football, so look for that, and also a week two preview, probably in the same episode. Let's look for that midweek next week. I'd say probably Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on our availability. And both of us are extremely busy, so we are trying to put out as much as we can. There's a lot to talk about in the sports world. We haven't even gotten into much hockey. We need to start looking at that. The preseason getting underway. I believe it is this upcoming weekend. So look for that in the coming weeks. So once again, NFL Steelers preview. Uh, hopefully on Wednesday. Hopefully. And for that, and yeah, he's Danny Shamholzer. I am Zach Bischoff, and we will see you next time. This has been episode number 14 of the Local Lowdown podcast. On behalf of both of us, we thank you all for watching and listening and supporting us on our journey in the podcasting world.